Hey guys, hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day today. So Victor Hugo is one of my all-time favorite authors, mostly because he wrote my number one book, his favorite book above all other books, Les Miserables. Right? It's 1,462 pages of pure awesome sauce. I love that book, and I love what I learned about humanity. I remember when I finished reading it, we were actually living in Costa Rica at the time. I remember right where we were staying at a place by the beach, and I finished the book, and I just sat there and I wept. I cried, and it's a touching, powerful moment of deep, raw humanity. And I took a long time to read that book, and I literally remember stopping to feel it. Like, it's not very often you stop to feel a book. I'll think about it, I'll ponder it, mark it up, but I would stop to feel this book. It was so powerful, and you learn so much about human nature and what it's like to suffer and struggle, and that everybody has a story, and that all of us can be so much more loving and compassionate and patient and empathetic with our fellow human beings, our brothers and sisters in this life. But I want to share a quote that I came across recently from Victor Hugo. He said, "The future has many names. For the weak, it's unattainable. For the fearful, it's unknown. But for the bold, it's ideal." Close quote. Whoa, isn't that good? Right? And think about that. Think about what you think about the future. And this, you guys, this is the distinguishing feature between people who will be happy and successful and people who will be unhappy and unsuccessful. It's literally how they think and how they feel. And of course, our thoughts create our desires, which create our actions, which create our habits, which create our future. And I've shared tons of that before. Your habits literally create your present. Your former habits have created what you have today, and the habits you have today will create your future. And those habits come from our thoughts. But don't you love what he said here? For the weak, it's unattainable. Like, people who are weak or choose weakness, they're just like, no, I can't have it. I can't have that awesome future. Whether it's great health or financial independence or fantastic relationships or the dream life, whether you want to travel the world or start a business or work in humanitarian projects or change the world somehow. Like, when we're weak, when we choose weakness and we just give up and give in too often, it's unattainable, right? And so every one of us, I love this quote and I love this idea. And so I want to hit on those three things, because we all have weakness in us, and weakness comes out by doing hard things. In all my travels around the world and all the studying for over 24 years, studying personal development and meeting with people all over the earth, I've only found there's one way, literally one way, to overcome weakness and to become tough. And it's to do hard things. That's it. You've got to do hard things. Now, guess what? You're like, but I don't want to do hard things. I want a comfortable, easy life. And honestly, I love comforts and I love ease and I love all the awesomeness of our current world and all the good things we have. But I'm telling you guys, one of the most dangerous things in our lives is comfort and ease. And most of you watching this probably have pretty comfortable lives, and that's the greatest danger for all of us, myself included, my family. And if you have an easy life, then you and I, we have to choose challenge. We literally have to go and seek out hard things. Because if we spend our whole lives seeking entertainment and comfort and ease, we're going to be in trouble, because those things lead to weakness, right? There's nothing like comfort and the easy life to lead to weakness. And weakness makes your ideal future, unattainable. So choose hard things. That's one of the biggest problems right now with this massive failure to launch epidemic that youth and young adults are facing. They go out into work or missions or travel or colleges or whatever, and they come across something that's demanding and uncomfortable and hard, and many of them are just quitting. They don't know how to handle it. And so it's one of the biggest problems in our society right now, is this problem that the future is unattainable to those who are weak. How do we overcome weakness? Do hard things. So choose something today, right now. Choose something crazy hard to do in the next couple months. All right, number 2. He says, to the fearful, it's unknown. And it's interesting that I've been working with youth and adults. I've been coaching for years and years and years, working with people. And I've watched the rise of anxiety and fear increase. And I think it goes the same along with the weakness and with comfort and ease. And I've watched this fear increase. And it's because of input, the songs, the music, the movies, the ideas, the thoughts, the comfortable lives, the kind of sheltering ourselves up, building walls and protection and kind of disconnecting from life. And now we're letting our minds run rampant with fears, and it's always the unknown. I don't know. And I understand this. Like, I was weak, and I was fearful, and in a lot of ways I'm still weak and fearful. But I look at my fears, I'm like, wait a minute, why do I do that? Why is my mind always imagining the worst case scenario? Right? When I dream of something awesome, when I think of the future and I want something cool, why is it my mind starts to go, well, that probably won't work out. And what if that doesn't work out? What if things go bad? And what if this happens and that happens? And our minds race down this fearful path. And if we don't stop that and correct it and replace it with positive, hopeful thoughts, then it runs rampant and we all end up with fears and anxieties. And the future is very unknown, and we're afraid to try anything because we might fail. But I want to say, like, it's just as likely to work out as it is to not. And if it doesn't, learn from it, get back up and go again. But we're so afraid of trying. We're so afraid of making mistakes. We're so afraid of failure that we literally stop ourselves before we start. Who wants a future that's unknown? Right? We want a future that's awesome no matter what happens, right? We want to be agile as cats and prepared for anything that comes. And so don't let your fears dominate your choices. Fears and anxiety is literally creating a cage around us and stopping us from creating the life that we could have. Our potential, your potential, right within your reach. But you can't let your fears make your decisions. And I invite you to do this. Think for a while. Like, literally, and I've done this a lot and I've done it with people. Think through how many of your decisions are based on fear. And at first you might think, oh no, not very many. Right? But I talk to people like, hey, where do you go on vacation? Well, we always go to Disneyland. Why don't you try somewhere else? Well, no, we always like Disneyland. Well, why? Tell me why. Why don't you go to here and here? And it basically comes down to, well, we're afraid. We're afraid to try something else, so we keep doing the same thing. And that may be true with you too. You've been doing the same thing again and again and again. Instead of having years of experiences, you have the same experience repeated year after year after year. And it's all fear-based. Why do you live where you live? Why do you do what you do? Why haven't you changed careers? Why haven't you changed your major? Why did you choose not just to start a business, right? Why don't you try all this stuff? Why haven't you tried new foods? And so much of our life is built on fear. So I want you to re-examine your lives and evaluate how many of your decisions are based on fear. And then the last part of Victor Hugo's quote is, to the bold, it's ideal. Whoa, I love that, right? The future is ideal, and bold people create their lives. They create their future. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that exciting? Bold people create their own paths. And if you look at that, if you study the lives of great men and women like I have since I was 16 years old, and I'm meeting great people all the time, I've met a bunch more today, they literally create their lives by taking bold action. They're bold in what they think and what they study and what they say and what they attempt and how they do it. And they're bold and aggressive in their ambitions and their desires and their improvement and their change and their willingness to forgive and their willingness to apologize, their willingness to make mistakes and fall down and get back up and keep trying. They're bold in everything they do. And boldness has power and genius in it. That's from a great quote, right? And it does. I've experienced that in my life and with other people. When you act boldly, not crazy, not ignorantly, not blindly, but thinking through clearly and then taking calculated risks and being bold in pursuing your dreams and goals, awesome things happen. So I want to challenge you to be bold, right? Get rid of the fears. Get rid of the weakness. Choose boldness and go after it and create the future you want until it becomes an ideal. And you literally get to write your own ticket and live life the way you want, because awesome is always an option. Reach upward.